All right, this video is for my 7th graders who have a worksheet that looks like this on how to do the two-step inequalities, especially when you do two-step inequalities and you have to multiply or divide by a negative number. Warning, this worksheet is not the one that you have, and that's because you only have 7 problems to do on your worksheet. So I'm not going to do the homework problems. I'm going to do problems that look just like them so that I'm just not giving you answers when there's only 8 problems to do in the first place. So if you're struggling on how to make sure when to flip or not, meaning flipping the inequality sign, this video is for you, and try it for practice, okay? So this first one happens to have junk on the trunk. And we're going to solve this exactly how we solve two-step inequality or inequations, two-step equations with junk in a trunk. I'm going to multiply the 2 out first. Notice that I am multiplying by a positive 2. So this inequality sign will not flip. Remember, you only flip when you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number. I am multiplying by a positive 2, multiplying by a positive 2. It doesn't matter what's already there. The question is, are you multiplying the one that you're moving? Is it negative or is it positive? If it's negative, then you would flip your inequality sign. If it's positive, you don't. So this question, I am not going to flip my inequality sign. So I have 2 times negative 1, which is a negative 2. Remember, you're not flipping your inequality sign because you do not multiply or divide by a negative number. So remember, long story short, that's going to cancel out. I'm now going to drop my junk in the trunk. I'm now going to get rid of the 4. Remembering my integer rules, this is going to be a negative 6. So I have negative 6 is greater than x. Negative 6 is greater than x. Okay, I'll put it up there so I can get this out of the way. And now I'm going to circle my negative 6, which should be maybe here, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. I'm not sure where it is on this one. Huh, almost close. So, on there. So it's going to be here's where the negative 6 is. It's going to be an open circle because it's not greater than or equal to. I'm then going to take a look at the numbers that I have on both sides. I have a negative 9, or you can call this even negative 4. Okay? Doesn't matter. So, I have a negative 9 or negative 4. Now, which one of these sentences is going to make sense? Negative 6 is bigger than negative 9. Remember, in negative land, the smaller number is the number that's actually bigger. Negative 6 is bigger than negative 9. That is true. Check the next one just in case. Negative 6 is bigger than negative 4. Not true, because again, in negative land, the smaller digit is actually the bigger number. So I know my answer is going to be going in a direction of the negative 9. So it should be going this way towards the left. And that one is complete. Going on to number 2. Okay, so let's look here. This is how you can tell if you're going to multiply or divide by a negative number. Look at that. You know, eventually, like after I get rid of this 8, I'm going to end up dividing by a negative 2. Remember, in order to flip the sign, you have to have a negative or negative when you're multiplying or negative when you're dividing. So let me explain again. Let's go ahead and solve, as usual. Remember, get rid of the 8 first. Get rid of the 8 first. Okay, so I have 24 minus 8. And then once we do the 24 minus 8, and then we take a look at dividing it by the negative 2. Okay, so the 24 minus my 8, that gives us the 16. Oh, let me write it. That gives us the 16. That cancels out. Now I have a negative 2. Okay, notice how I am going to divide by a negative number. I am dividing by a negative number. See that? That cancels out, leaving us an invisible 1. And because I divided by a negative number, I must flip my sign. Okay? And 2 will go into 16 8 times, and the answer is going to be negative 8. So my answer is 8 is less than or equal to, excuse me, x is less than or greater than or equal to negative 8. Okay? So let me erase this, and I want to show you something. All right, Again, another explanation to why we flipped this inequality sign, okay? Let's go back to what we originally had. Remember, the original sign was facing in this direction, okay? So it says x is less than or equal to -8. Here's the reason why I want you to make sure we understand why we flip this sign. What number is always in front of a letter that's invisible? That's right, a 1. Now take a look at it, okay? If we do this, we're saying a positive 1. Let me get the x out of the way just so you can see it better. That invisible 1, if you were to make it show, it's saying a positive 1 is less than -8. That's not correct. And this effect happens when you end up multiplying or dividing by negative numbers. Okay? So this is the reason why we flip the inequality sign. Because when we flip the inequality sign, and remember that invisible 1 is there, it now makes sense, doesn't it? 1 is greater than -8. So again, the reason why we flip the inequality sign, we're multiplying and dividing by a negative, is because of the invisible 1 effect. That's what I like to call it. So let's go back to what we had. I'm going to put down our answer again. So remember, our answer was x is greater than or equal to -8. Remember, I flipped a sign. Why did I flip the sign? Because I ended up dividing by a -2. So I'm going to circle my -8, and this one should be closed in because it says or equal to. Take a look at the numbers that are on both sides. A 10, a -10, and a -6. Put those underneath your variable, -10 or -6. Remember, in negative land, the smaller number is actually the bigger one. So let's read. -10 is bigger than -8. Incorrect. -6 is bigger than -8. Correct. Your arrow should be going towards the right. Okay? Check to be sure, which I can. There it is. Angel going towards the right. All right. Let's take a look at the next one. You see this? You're going to end up dividing by a -6. So I already know this inequality sign is going to end up being flipped. But first, I'm going to add my 13. That's 13, not a B. There. Add my 13. So I have -6x. And then adding these two together. That will give me 30. Again, divide by that -6. And the reason why our inequality sign flipped is because of that. I ended up dividing by a negative number. So now we have x is less than or equal to a positive 10. Okay, I'm going to rewrite that answer here. X less than or equal to 10. I circle my 10. That circle should be closed in. I have a 5 or 15. Put that underneath the variable. 5, 15. These are positive numbers, so let's see which one makes sense. 5 is less than 10. That is correct. 15 is less than 10. Incorrect. Your answer should be going in the direction of the 5, which is left. Okay? Check to be sure. Left. Number 4. So if you have one that looks like this. Now, look at this. You know you're eventually going to end up, right, multiplying by 4 on both sides. Is this 4 positive or negative? It's a positive 4. So I do not flip my inequality sign. Again, you only flip if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number. But first, let's get rid of the 9. Minus 9 on this side, minus 9 on this side. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there's 7 here. A less than sign, my x over 4. So what I'm going to do now is multiply by 4 on both sides. This will give me a 28 is less than x. Okay? So now I have 28 less than x. Here's my 28. It is not going to be circled in. So now I have, I'm just going to say that number is 15 or 29. And I know those numbers aren't exact, but I know that's the order it's going in, so it doesn't matter. Okay? Or, even better, I'll do it this way, if that was confusing to you what I just did. Take a look at the numbers you can see that are next to the number that you circled. So you don't have these two numbers, right? Basically what I'm saying is, then go to these two. And you can still substitute those. 28 is less than 14. Is that correct? No, it's not. 28 is less than 42. That is correct. So your arrow should be going in the direction of the right. Arrow going direction of the right. Okay. And remember, these are not the homework problems, but these are ones that are like the homework problem. Here we go. Look at that. See that? You're going to end up dividing by a -5. So you already know that this inequality sign is going to end up being flipped because of that. And, oh, there's another one, -8. So what I would do here is actually subtract 8 from both sides, but I think you have a problem that looks like this, that's number 4 on your worksheet, and I told you not to worry about it, so you don't have to. But if you do want to look at it, it would go like this, okay? So remember, the number, you have one that looks like this, it's number 4 in your sheet, and this number 5 is doing the same thing. So, and I told you don't worry about it, but if you were interested in knowing what to do, this is what you would do. I am going to combine these terms by doing the same thing that I've been doing before. What you do to one side, you got to do to the other. This is going to end up being a positive 3x. And a positive 21. See that? I don't have to bring that plus sign down because I already know it's positive. And then I would divide by a positive 3. And because I'm dividing by a positive 3, your inequality sign does not change on this one because I divided by a positive number. And as you know, what you're going to end up is x is less than or equal to 7. Here's my 7. I have a 6 or an 8. A 6 or an 8. 6 is less than 7. Correct. 8 is less than 7. Incorrect. So it should be going towards the left. Going towards the left. Okay, so here's one which your inequality sign will be reversed. I'm not combining x's here, but I am going to end up dividing by a -3. So I know this inequality sign is actually going to reverse in the end, okay? So I'll wait to reverse it. First, I'm just going to add 10 to both sides. Add 10 to both sides. That's 15. And here's the reason why you're going to flip, because you are dividing by a negative number. I divided by a -3. 3 will go into 15 3 times. Flip that inequality sign. There it is. So really what you're looking at is -3 is less than x. -3 is less than or equal to x. So we're going to graph. And this will be the last sample that I have for this video. So hopefully you'll be able to do your homework much more successfully. So I have a -3, which I'm going to say is right here. Okay, so I'm looking at a -10 or a 0. -10 or 0. Okay, and that's actually going to be filled in. Okay, so remember, negative land, the smaller the number is actually bigger. -3 is smaller than -10. Incorrect. -3 is smaller than 0. Correct. Your x should be going towards the -10, which is towards the left. Going towards 10, going towards the left. Oh, apparently I did that problem wrong. So never mind that one. They got a -5. Video's about to run out. I'll show you next time.